Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Punatu Sahaviryam Karvavahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shvetashvatra Upanishad, fifth chapter. We will take the 5, 6th, and 7th verses together today, because we are not going to have uh, the next class on Monday. We are going to meet on Friday, next Friday.
Oh, next Wednesday, no class.
Yeah. Mm. So there are I'll read we're on page 170. The source of the universe, who brings about the nature of things, who transforms all things that are mutable, and who directs all the three qualities. He rules alone this whole universe. Now, what happens is there is, now this is speaking about that one deity. There is in the highest, one of the highest piti teachings in the Upanishads is, you are that reality. Tat Tvamasi. You are that reality. Now, the process of Vedanta is to get to understand what that is, and then what this, you are that, you, and the process, what joins the two together, that is that and thou. So this verse speaks about that reality. Okay. Now, what's that reality? It is the source of the universe, who brings about the nature of things. Now, what is the nature of things? So, nature of things is like, fire burns, water wets, okay, the earth smells, and the wind blows. So, all the it's kind the particular nature of a particular thing, dharma. Say. Each element or each thing in nature has its own nature. Swabhav, it's called. Yeah. Human beings behave like this, and sometimes they don't, but generally they're supposed to. And animals like this, and plants like this, and trees, everything that has got its own fixed, you can say, characteristics. So it's only human beings that sometimes behave like gods, and sometimes behave like something else. But so saying that source of the universe, that reality, who brings about the nature of things, who transforms all things that are mutable. Now, everything in this universe is mutable. Everything in this universe transforms. Now, everything keeps on transforming. Who does these transformations? He is in charge. He or she. Let's not. That reality is in charge of. Now, when you look at this universe, it's so fine tuned. We always say, oh, it's fine tuned for life, and that's why we are here. Forget us. Just take us out of the picture. This universe seems perfectly fine tuned because it appears like this. Everything is kind of moving in a particular direction in a circle. The moon doesn't say, see you, I'm going to Mars. The Mars doesn't say, I'm going to. No, everything is kind of, running according to a kind of a, what do you say, a fear. That's what it in one of the Upanishads say. Everything follows his rules. He's like a great, you can say, deity with a thunderbolt in his hand, and everybody is frightened and keeps doing their respective duties. But even if you don't take that as a guy with a thunderbolt, everything seems so kind of perfect. The composition of the air, the water, and the earth, and everything is moving around in a kind of a circle, and everything is moving around in space, and seems perfect. And when you wonder who's in charge of this, yeah, a little of the forces, if they were either little too weak or too strong, we would not get this. If gravitation was a little more extra years, something, we don't have all this kind of display of life. Shocked to a kind of a soul who's so involved with its own body and its own world to really get a kind of a opening up, saying that you are not only in this body and not only in this private world of yours, but you belong to the whole universe and you are that highest reality. The There's no other books in the world that teaches you like that, except the Upanishads. And here, this is the Upanishads that are being spoken about. Page 171, chapter 5, 5 and verse 6. That Brahman lies hidden in the Upanishads, that are the mystical parts of the Vedas. Brahma, that's a creator, knows that reality, which has the Vedas as its valid source of knowledge. Those ancient gods and seers who knew it, that is the reality, they being full of its thought, became immortal indeed. Tat Veda Guhyo Upanishatsu Gudam Tad Brahma Vedate Brahma Yonim. Ye Purvam Deva Rishayascha Tad Vidus Te Tanmaya Amrita Vai Babubha. So here, that Brahman, that reality is saying, lies hidden in the Upanishads. But here it is there in the Upanishad. These are the Upanishads, and these are here. It's there. Oh, wait. And now Upanishads are being printed and published, and everybody who wants to uh, write something on these Upanishads, and they are just right. They're free to do it. But like in the Kabbalah, you have a kind of a mystical underlying, you can say, message. The external letters, they all kind of have a kind of a code. They're kind of a code, but
I cannot understand.
yes, it is
I
until unless
tried.
you have to
I
have
tried
a
to read
teacher.
it. I couldn't understand
You
it.
have to have a teacher. Or in fact, you're saying the entire corpus of the Old Testament is written in code.
Oh.
Oh yes,
Oh.
it's in code.
So the knowledge was there too.
Yes, and the words, external words, they kind of tell you a story, but underneath that, beneath that, is there's another. Yes, and they are trying to decipher it. A lot of scholars in Israel are working on this, and each letter corresponds to a kind of a numerical, and they are kind of joining it, and it's giving a huge, you can say, impetus to this biblical studies. Amazing. that it can be seen numerically. There are numericals giving you figures, telling you to you in numericals. There's another mystical language. This is what it is. That reality lies hidden in the Upanishads that are the mystical parts of the Vedas. The end part of the Vedas called Upanishads, they are the mystical parts. Why? It could have been. This is where Swami Vivekananda comes in. In the old days, there was a, you've got to be a little competent to understand. So you need to devote your life to discipline and studies and this and that, and then you're competent to understand. In a way, it was there was a very famous no, there was a very famous physicist who was working in Indian. He was working in Australia. So he was, I think it was a Bose who later bought out this Bose Einstein condensate. You don't know about this? Oh. So he saw that there was a kind of a mathematics that could be derived from Einstein's equations. And he wrote to him, and then then it's now called Bose-Einstein condensate. It's a form of matter. So he came. It was him or someone else. Anyway, someone who was working on quantum mechanics. So he had a classmate who became a monk. And he was so furious. He came after all his met him all the same. You're so brilliant. Can you teach that gardener there? No, I can't teach. What is his minimum qualification that he needs? He needs to be at least a post grad in physics. Then I can explain to him what I'm working on. So same thing. I cannot tell you why I became a monk. There you are. There you are. You need to have some minimum qualification. But it was kind of uh, they welcomed aspirants and seekers, and in fact they used to pray for them, Amayantu Brahmacharina Swaha. And the famous teacher who would have a kind of huge collection of students around him. So they needed to have some discipline. You just can't give it to everybody. They will distort those teachings, misinterpret those teachings. And it is clear in some of the Upanishads, they said, yeah, those who have that hankering for God, those who are pure, those who are disciplined, they can understand these things quickly. We just kind of take it as a kind of, we have so many professors in the universities who will tell you everything about Vedanta brilliantly, but they're not seekers of that reality. That's a difference.
How do I know I'm a seeker? No, honestly.
You should know it.
I don't.
No, that is wrong. We know exactly what we are.
I wish.
Yes. Nobody needs to tell us about ourselves. How much of seeking I have in me, or how much wish to seek God is in me. I know about myself. So
we get surprised to find it's infinity, though. We don't know it's
that's the reason why Sri Ramakrishna says now we don't have to bother about how many mangoes are there in that orchard. You've come to eat mangoes, start eating the mangoes. Simple as that. Right now, concentrate on this. And then later on, you'll find out that God Himself will tell you this is there, this, all these things are there.
Yeah.
So, to get back to it, so these teachings they are layered. They've got a, so under that layer, there's another, this kind of the mystical part of the Vedas. So even in the Bhagavad Gita, idam tu te na tapaskaya na, but he tells Arjuna, Sri Krishna, don't tell this to those who do not have austerities in their life, who are not devoted to me. They'll misinterpret it. Yes. Even in the Upanishads, in the Mundaka Upanishads, like the person, this teaching has to be given to those who are your children or your disciples. Like, you don't go and stand in the marketplace and I'm going to teach you Upanishad. You'll make a fool of yourself. So these are the mystical parts of the Vedas. So here it is. Brahma, that is the firstborn Hiranyagarbha, knows that. That means that reality, which has the Vedas as its valid source of knowledge. This is little. Uh, the Vedas are, you can say, the first manifestation from the source. That is, the first comes is the mind, the cosmic mind, and that is called Hiranyagarbha, the golden womb. That is the firstborn, and in that cosmic mind flashes the knowledge of the Vedas. You got it? Yeah. Now, what are the Vedas? Vedas are, it comes from the word with, to know. It's a knowledge. So, this whole universe has arisen from knowledge. It is not a watchmaker putting all those gears here and there and trying to run it like a clockwork. No, it's not a mechanistic universe. This universe is run by the mind, by the consciousness. That's the reason why you have so many kind of uh, mystifying things. If you look at it from the mechanistic point of view, everything seems so mysterious. If you look at it from the standpoint of the mind, it becomes clear. And this is what it is. So the Vedas are that, you can say, the source from where everything has come. Like I was saying, yes, what's the Vedas? Mind. Mind of whose mind? Mind of God. Swami Vivekananda, in one of his lectures, was so emphatic, saying the old orthodoxy was, why does this cow exist outside? Because it's mentioned in the Vedas. That was old orthodoxy. And he's saying, I never studied it like the way it was studied before. Orthodox people used to study it. The whole universe exists. Why? Because it's mentioned in the Vedas. Nothing exists outside the Vedas. The universe exists because it's mentioned there. Everything is there. Like in the Mahabharata also, which is considered the fifth Veda, put in a kind of a story form, saying whatever has been written here will be found in the universe. If you find something in the universe which is not in this Mahabharata, it's an impossibility. You have to find it. So in the old days, we have like missiles, space travel, and this and that. We used to wonder how come these guys had that technology. They had a concept, not a technology. And we are just kind of reviving it. So whatever is there in the universe will be found in this book. And if it is not there in this universe, it does not exist. You have to find it in the Mahabharata or the Vedas. So that was the old orthodoxy. You studied the way, and they got wonderful theories out of that studies. but we don't need to go through that kind of study. We only need to understand that it was this whole universe has come from consciousness arising from mind. So that is the peculiarity of creation in Eastern philosophies. Creation arises from the mind, while in Western sciences is first creation comes out of matter, and after a very long time of matter evolving into finer and finer structures called a brain and the neurons, then this is what brings out, or the mind emerges from that. So matter gives rise to mind. So here they say mind gives rise to matter. Mind condensing over and over and over again brings out what is called matter.
Swami, is the same thing as the same in the beginning was the word,
Yeah.
and the word was with God,
Mm,
and the word was God.
yes, exactly. In fact, this was that day we were discussing this nature also. Rabbi Hillel, who brought in the Stoic philosophy, old, you can say, Neoplatonism of Plotinus, and the Hebrew scriptures kind of wove them into it. So it happened in Alexandria.
Exactly.
Rabbi Hillel was a contemporary of Jesus,
Of who?
Jesus Christ.
Oh,
Yes, we know more about this rabbi than historically than about.
oh really?
Yeah, he was a very great philosopher. Anyway, so he was the one who bought all this, and the Greek philosophy, the Stoic philosophy, and then Neoplatonism, and this and that, and all this. And in the beginning was a word, and everybody picked up on all those kind of.
Orthodox Jews rejected the Greek influence.
No, no, no. In fact, the first translation of the text was done in Greek. Oh, yes. Greek was the language. You couldn't get away from it. Yeah,
But it'd be interesting to study then.
very interesting. It's interesting. But they retained this, like we did. We retained it. We retained the Sanskrit. Certain things cannot be translated. It's as simple as that. Yes, precisely it cannot. So modern scholars, they study Sanskrit as well as study the modern languages also, so that you can get a better insight, or you can. But the mystical part of the Vedas, the Upanishad, that is, they have to be meditated to be understood. Yes, that's clear. It is only through meditation that one can understand the mystical parts of this. Otherwise, it's just straight kind of literature or poetry or something like that.
Is that meditation in terms of thinking about or realization rising within?
First, you start with the object. Start with thinking you are that. And as you keep on meditating deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, then you will find, oh, this thing, this whole universe has emerged from that. You start with the concept, and then your meditation leads. Shri Ramakrishna says, through reading, you will get one type of knowledge. Through listening, you will get a higher type of knowledge. Through discussion, you will find things are getting more and more clarified. Through meditation, you get a higher type of knowledge. But when you see the thing as it is, all the other concepts fall away. These were just kind of steps towards taking you towards that. And then they say he's giving an example. Those ancient gods, even those gods, even we have gods also who meditate and who not gods in the sense of absolute gods. We have gods we have relative powers. We have kind of conditioned gods. So the commentator says Rudra, etc., gods, and the sages, Vamadeva. So we have Devarshi, like for example, Narada is a sage amongst the gods, Devarshi. And then amongst the teacher class, they were called Brahmarshi. And amongst the royal sages, they were called Rajarshi. We have the Rishi. What's the name? What's the meaning of Rishi? One who sees the past, present, and future. It's called a Rishi. Or one who sees these mantras. They are called Rishis. Another meaning is they're poets. Ah, beautiful. Everything that when they saw those, realized those truths, they brought it out in poetry form. That's why they're very simple people, they're very poetic. They came out with this poetry. So the idea is, he's saying those ancient gods and seers who knew it, they being full of that thought, became immortal indeed. Immortal, yes, of course. And now, once you know the reality, you go transcend birth and death and everything else. So Vamadeva, etc., these great sages, and it's like, it's trying to tell us that there has been a tradition, a continuity of traditions over and over and over again. This line hasn't been broken. If it breaks, God comes, and you can't have a break in this tradition of knowledge. So when we commence with any kind of this, we need to invoke an illustrious line of teachers, and starts from where, from Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartribhyo Vangsha Rishibhyo Namo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhya, the whole line. So we can trace our traditional knowledge right down to the creator. Hey, very interesting. I don't know if it was formulated later or whatever. It could be. But it tells us that the source of knowledge is okay. Is it okay?
I'm just getting up.
Yeah.
My sitting position is
Yeah,
very
yeah, fine.
difficult for me.
Yeah, you could use this.
Oh, okay, I got
Okay,
it.
there.
I got it.
Okay.
There's a method to
Mm.
madness.
So, it means, and that's why when I came to this country first thing, tell us something about you. Me? I was the kind of me. What about me? No, I need to talk about my guru. And if I ask my guru, he'll talk about his guru, and his guru is his guru. You cannot talk about oneself, because somewhere deep down, all the knowledge today I can say with certainty, all the knowledge that I have ever acquired or whatever I know has come due to the grace of my teacher, Guru. 100%. I may have read those the dry bones of, you can say, philosophy or religion. That's a different thing altogether. Knowledge comes. They say that one lamp lights another lamp. Knowledge is like that lamp. Light. You cannot have light without the first lamp. So when you start, so where did this lamp ever emerge? I'm saying, yeah, from the Guru. But the Guru is God. We do not have many gurus. Otherwise, it's going to create a problem. We do not have many gods. Do you know that? But in Hinduism, there are 330 million gods. No, we don't have millions of gods. We have one. So that God appears as the Guru. Yes. Knowledge can come only from God because that's what we have been talking about. His mind is the Vedas. In his mind, there flashes that you can see knowledge of souls, about the universe, and about God. You can know about God. Hey, you know where I am? Yes. Read that book. You'll know about me. You'll know about me, about my nature. So God has it's not hidden. In fact, God is the most visible entity. And he's keep on telling you, yeah, this is mentioned about it. This is mentioned about me. This is mentioned in that book about me. Why are you saying, why are you searching? Where are you searching? I'm here. So here this is like once you penetrate those, as you say, the philology, or you can say, the syntax and sentences and the words, meaning, come down to the mystical meanings hidden in those words. And then you realize this God here. So they became immortal when you realize, and that's what makes them unreal, or what makes them immortal. Uh, do they drink some nectar? Nectar of immortality. Yeah, nectar is kind of this. It is knowledge that gives you immortality. Just this is the typically Vedantic concept that until and unless you don't understand that, you will never understand Vedanta. Knowledge, the whole universe emerges from knowledge, and you can free yourself through knowledge. No going to heaven, no going to hell will confer you immortality. Even those the Satans, the devils, and all, they are immortal, forever getting fried in that immortal fire. How come fire cannot be immortal and souls cannot be fried? Truly, souls are spirits, and fire is kind of elemental. But anyways, these stories are nice, and it is through knowledge you can become immortal. That's why the very beginning of life starts with this knowledge. When the child is born, the father and the mother have to whisper in the child's ears the names of God. You are that. But the child, as it grows up, it forgets. As usual. What is real name? There was a queen I told you about, Madalasa, and she had three sons. And when each son, when he was born, she used to sing lullabies. No? You are that pure, immortal being, Thomasi Niranjan. It's not like little lullaby trying to put a child to sleep, trying to teach its real nature. And the child, as it grew up, all that knowledge was flashing. It saluted his mother, and I'm leaving. Yeah, leave. The mother also was saying, yeah, the second child also was like that. When she rocking the child to sleep and singing those songs of the Atman. The second child also rose up and leave. The father is so, who is going to succeed me? This kingdom, I need a heir to do all this. So the moment the third child was born, nothing. He pushed the queen, saying, "Hey, wait, I'll I'll look after this." So fine, okay, fine. So the child was growing up, and so as he was kind of still young, his mother wrote kind of a piece of paper. You open it after you've grown up, you become a king, and all these things. And then the mother passed away, the father also passed away. This child has become a king and is now. My mother had given me some piece of paper. Let's see what's written. He opened it. Hey, you are that pure Atman. Ah, he leaves everything. So the first words uttered are the words relating to this child's individuality as yoked to that of God's. So and that's the reason why they say when the child is in the womb, the prenatal influence of the mother is tremendous. That mother has to think about divine things. The child gets enlightened there. This Vamadeva that we are talking about, he was enlightened in the womb. Yeah, this in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Yeah, even like the Ashtavakra, as you say, the Ashtavakra Gita, Ashtavakra Samhita. Yeah, you enlightened in the womb. There is nothing because you're listening to all these mantras being chanted by the father and the mother and this and that, and the mother is doing this sacrifice and that fasting and this prayer. The child is getting influenced by that. The prenatal. Swami Vivekananda is very clear. He's saying here the prenatal influence is extremely strong. We are either born for good or evil. There we are. So this was how the child was molded into thinking about these mystical things. Now, I'll just read this because it's that thou art that. That has been spoken about through the mystical teachings of the Vedas called the Upanishads. That, and this is speaking about the individual soul, thou. So we are seventh verse, fifth chapter, seventh verse, page 172. He who is endowed with attributes, who is a performer of action leading to a result, and is himself the enjoyer of that result of that very action, has many forms, is possessed of the three qualities, has three paths, is the master of the vital force, and moves by its own actions. So here we are talking about now the individual soul. These three things are, linked. That thou art. The art is spoken of by the Upanishads, translate. That is that reality, infinite reality, and this is the individual reality in one's own being. So the Upanishads wants to. Now, what's the nature? Yeah, give me a minute. What's the nature of this individual soul? This is the description of the individual. Primarily, we do action, karma. That is what we think, we talk, we work. Everything is karma. So that's the reason why endowed with the attributes in guna. That is, they say, what are the gunas? Uh, Either sattva or rajas or tamas, the three energies, and is a performer of action leading to a result. Now, if a person performs an action, the person does not get a result, that person is not going to perform action. Simple as that. Why should I do something if I'm not going to get anything out of it? So this is in a way a kind of a bondage. You set in motion a particular thing, and they say you set in motion a thought, it will circuit the whole universe and come back to you. Oh, yes. And in the meantime, it either gets powerful because it, and suppose I pray for others. Okay. Now all the prayers which are being prayed for others, intercessionary prayers, they kind of they boost my own prayer. My prayer become powerful because there are similar vibrations in the mental atmosphere. So it takes a circuit round, gets stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger because those very vibrations are there in the atmosphere, and it comes back to me. Oh, I did only a little and I got such a huge result. Yes. And suppose I I impel a kind of a wild thought. Yes, I will see that guy, I'm going to hit his nose. And that will also go around the universe. And all the people who are spoken about, I'm going to punch his nose. My thought becomes kind of heavy with all those other vibrations. And it comes to me, and somebody comes and punches my nose. Ah! But I just said things in jest. Yeah, you said it, but you went round and it came. So, because this universe, this visible universe, is limited, it is in a closed system. You send something, it's going to take a circuit of the universe and comes back to you. It has to come back. It's a very technical discussion. We will leave it for next Friday because we're not going to meet again on Wednesday. Going for a short trip out. So we'll look at this because it entails, we'll discuss the technicalities of karma because this is what is actually is being discussed. It is actions that bind us and it's actions that free us. We must know what actions free us and what actions bind us.
Wednesday will not be here.
No, I won't be here. I will be somewhere else.